And now it's time for RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
Hey everybody, welcome to another fun-filled hour of RoadWorthy Drive behind the scenes. I'm your host, Ken Chester, in studio with my executive producer, Jack, and our social media diva, Sasha. And she's laughing. In breaking news for this hour, I'm going to introduce you to a company called Genovation GXE. It's a little company with big ideas, a green supercar. You're going to love to know about that, particularly the price tag. A little high, but we'll talk about it. We're going to also talk about a Lamborghini you can afford. You can't park it in your driveway, but you sure can afford it. We'll talk about that in a bit. In our topics of discussion during this hour, we've talked a lot about how the insurance industry is going to be impacted by autonomous cars. There is a British company that's finally stepped on out there in the opening salvo. We'll talk about that and a little bit more about how this is going to change things from their perspective. This one's for Jack, and I call it For Want of a Taco Truck. Automation got stumped, and Jack's going to enjoy it, and you'll find out why, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. And then finally, are you a speeder? Do you speed? Do you go fast down the road?
I don't understand why you're looking at me.
Do you ignore safety laws? The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety considers this a national safety issue, and we'll explain why. All here during this hour of RoadWorthy Drive behind the scenes, and we're glad that you took the time out to join us. Thank you. Jack, we're at 11 minutes.
We are at 11 minutes.
Okay,
here we go.
Do the thing.
I tell you wanna go faster, yeah!
It's RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester. Ken loves talking about cars and automotive trends. And here he is, the automotive host with the most, Ken Chester.
Welcome to America's premier automotive news and information talk show. You're tuned to RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester. Thank you for listening. If this is your first time, let me explain something to you pretty quick. RoadWorthy Drive is not your grandpa's car show. I'd like to describe what I talk about as consumer news of an automotive nature. RoadWorthy Drive breaks down all the tech speak and breaking news in a way that is understandable and relevant. Doesn't matter if you love cars or just view them as a way to get from point A to point B. Spending time with me each week will make you a better consumer and a more aware resident. Rest assured, the next 15 years will be transformational in ways you can't even begin to imagine. Your house, your job, your vehicle, and your life are going to change as a result, directly and indirectly, of what we talk about each week. Be sure to tune in so that you can see what's coming and, more importantly, why. In a few minutes later in this segment, I will introduce you to the insane Genovation GXE and share with you another automaker's journey outside of the realm of automotive manufacturing. That's in breaking news. Coming up in the next segment, I'll talk about the beginning of major changes in car insurance, and we kind of knew this was coming. And during segment 2, I will tell you what it is and how it's going to impact you. Later on in the program, I will share some practical bumps in the road towards vehicle autonomy, something that Jack is going to like, being our resident anti-autonomous car person.
Whoa, whoa.
Yeah, what? Yeah, that'd be you.
That'd be me.
That'd be you. I call it For the Want of a Taco Truck. All that and much more, so don't, and I mean it, don't touch this dial. For those of you that want to weigh in, I got you covered. Call or text the RoadWorthy Drive line at 872-222-9793, and that's anytime. If email's your thing, my address is ken@roadworthydrive.com. Ask a question, make a suggestion, share your opinion. It's all good, and I want to hear from you. Now, regular listeners know that RoadWorthy Drive is indeed a team effort. The grown-up at the controls, and the suits in the corner office requires this when we're on the air, is none other than my friend and RoadWorthy Drive executive producer, Jack DeLeon. Howdy, Jack.
Good morning, Vietnam.
Oh, my goodness.
I always wanted to do that.
Yeah. Well,
I always wanted to do that.
Did you get that out your system?
Yes, I got it out of my system.
Do you feel better now?
I feel much better, sir. How are you?
I'm okay. Question for you before we continue.
There we go again.
yeah.
I'm trying to charge for questions, Sasha, by the way.
I will start that tab.
Okay, thank you.
There you go. You had your new truck.
Yep.
You had it repaired. Are
Yep.
you happy with the repairs?
I am very, very happy with the repair.
Give the listeners an idea of what we're talking about here.
A couple Fridays ago, I bought a brand new truck.
Mm-hmm.
And the truck had hail damage.
Mm-hmm.
And the dealer agreed to replace the hood.
Mm-hmm.
And he replaced the hood, and they were absolutely 100% spot on.
And did not charge you any extra
Did
for
not
that.
charge me any extra for it because that was part of the deal when I took the truck. I was not going to pay for a hood, but I wanted that hood replaced.
Well, there you go. There is good in the world, sir.
Yes, there is. And quite honestly, a lot of people have called me very, very skeptical, which I am.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think it's skeptical in a really good way.
Well, you know what? Things worked out the way they were supposed to.
Yep.
That's the important part.
And I'm happy. Now, sir,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do I get to have another moment this week with our first story?
You may have your moment.
Okay, thank you. Proceed.
Okay. $750,000.
That's not the part I'm talking about.
Oh.
I'm talking about the next number.
Oh. 75 of them are going to be built.
Not that number. One number.
75 and only 74 available to the public because one is reserved for me
Yeah.
with the RoadWorthy Drive insignia.
$750,000 though, Sasha. Not happening.
Not in the budget.
You can't expense that. The suits ain't going to allow it.
Are you sure? Have we approached the suits about this?
We don't have to approach the suit.
We can't even get money for chairs. How do you figure the suits are going to spring $750,000 for your little ride there?
Okay, you're missing one number.
209 miles an hour?
The other number.
That it runs on electricity.
700 and what?
$750,000.
No. Wasn't it 750 horsepower?
Oh, yeah. And 650 foot-pounds of torque.
All right, hold on. I got this. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, wait a minute. It's got a 150-mile range, and did I mention it's an electric car?
You did. So, again,
But at 150 mile an hour, isn't the distance going to shrink?
Yeah, I know that's right.
Okay, here's the thing. This is a car, American-designed and American-built.
Yep.
All green. These guys are going totally green. Now, they used a Corvette as their test mule, as their chassis, and they're going to probably build the first one from the basic Corvette. But basically, they lose the engine. They've beefed up the transmission. They basically replaced the clutch with one that will take 1,200 horsepower worth of torque.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, did I mention they started with a Z06?
Yes, you did.
And for those purists, for those Corvette purists, you know a Z06 is the oh my God version of the standard Corvette, which is fast enough anyway.
There you go.
Is that engine for ludicrous speed?
Ludicrous speed! Go!
It never gets old.
He may
Okay.
talk to the suits pretty soon. I'm going to get in trouble.
Well, you're still not getting the car, Sasha.
I'm pretty sure.
No.
I'll put it together,
No.
a package.
No. It's made in Maryland.
Okay.
And, they're expecting, they believe, here's the reasons why they think there's room for a car like this. They're worried about climate change. They're worried about the negative effects of air pollution and atmospheric CO2 because they believe these things are negative to the environment and that this type of vehicle, which is their first of several that they're looking at making, would actually help you do something good for the environment, particularly if you got a need for speed.
Didn't you say that to me off air that there are kids at University of Maryland that are helping with this?
Yes. Engineering students are helping with it. We're going to keep an eye on it because, of course, as you know, we're the ones that bring you all the cool stuff like the Lucid Air. The Faraday car, which is kind of dead.
Yeah.
But, you get some winners, you get some losers. So we're going to keep track of this. And if they bring it to a car show, because they talked about bringing this one to the 2018 Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas.
Which is in
January.
a month.
Yeah, in January. So there'll be pictures of it. I don't know if they're going to bring it to Detroit or Chicago, but if they do, we'll get pictures.
Okay. You want to talk to the suits about that $750 car?
I do. Yes.
I think we're probably going to have more better luck with the suits if we talk to them about going to Vegas to the Consumer Electronics Show.
And then why I could pick up the car while we're there. That's a brilliant idea, Jack.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Number one, you ain't getting the car. Number two, remember, we can't get chairs financed around here.
Now, Ken.
Yeah.
Speaking of fast cars.
Speaking of chairs.
Speaking of chairs. Lamborghini inspires a massage chair. What just says wrong about this?
Body Friend is a company in South Korea that makes massage chairs. Enough out of you, Sash. And they have licensed the Lamborghini name on a line of chairs because they're trying to push their way into American homes. Now, what I didn't tell you is right now the company, and I'm going to get this number. Hold on here. I want to see the number. They actually have 2 stores in Los Angeles right now, and they're planning a total of like 140 stores in America to do this. Here it is. Here it is. 2 stores in L.A., and planning to open an additional 140 stores throughout the U.S. in the next 3 years. So chances are, because they expect this Lamborghini-inspired massage chair that they licensed from Lamborghini to start coming out in 2018. So chances are you will be able to park a Lamborghini either in your man cave, if you want to go garage, or in your living room.
Okay, we need to talk to the suits again.
Yes, because we need chairs.
Because here's the deal.
Yes.
We do need chairs.
If I see nothing that can go wrong, if we sit here and have massage chairs running while we're trying to record the show.
You know, and it's better for the environment if the workers are actually, you know, in a nice, calm, relaxed state.
Exactly.
Yeah. Good luck with that. But they probably will get it because they really feel that massage chairs are the way to go. So we will see just exactly how many Lamborghini chairs they sell in the United States as they open more stores across the country.
But I'm assuming also their full line of other chairs are probably going to be sold too.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Okay, that's what we all need. Another furniture store.
But of course, though.
Really?
Yeah, really.
This is not going to be sold in IKEA?
Probably not.
Probably not, no.
Now, coming up next, when we come back, car insurance discounts in a semi-autonomous world, and later on, for want of a taco truck, bumps in the autonomous road. You are listening to RoadWorthy Drive.
RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester is America's premier automotive news and information talk show.
But I have no idea, but it can be fixed.
Okay. We'll fix it. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes, you do.
So,
Answer still no.
I think we had way too much fun in that segment.
right?
We always have fun, though.
Yes.
Speaking about my car, the GXE.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
You're not getting that either.
Uh-huh. Speaking about that, and I understand that, as you were saying, they went totally green, right?
Mm-hmm.
How green is the flames that are going, and the smoke that is going to be rising from one of these things that gets twisted around
Here's the
a
thing.
tree,
Electric
down a cliff?
Car, immediate torque.
Yeah.
No spinning wheels.
Yeah.
Immediate force to ground. Immediate, like 2.6.
Yeah.
It does 190 miles an hour in the mile with a top speed of 209 miles an hour.
Again, and I think we all remember what was that? The Hellcat, and I understand that was not an electric vehicle, that they were on a closed and...
Okay, 700
Smoke and
horsepower.
burn.
What is the problem?
Yeah, see? That's my thing.
What, as Jack said, what could possibly...
You want to tell
Go
us
wrong.
a little tidbit. Let's do a flashback, complete with like the wiggly waves type thing. Doo-doo-doo. Take us back to when you were driving the Hellcat and you just kind of pushed in on that accelerator.
No. See, because I had a Hellcat. Being an automotive journalist, they bring me cars. And I get cars to evaluate for a week.
Right.
Now, I got a Dodge Charger Hellcat.
And what was the horsepower on that?
700 plus. Put my foot in it once.
Yes, you did.
Spend the rest of the day apologizing to the car. I was like, okay, I am so done. I will never, ever do that again. I learned that 475 horsepower in a Challenger is more than enough. I mean, you know, how fast does fast have to be? And something that we will talk about later, actually. We will talk about speeding, which seems to go against cross purposes. They're building all these ridiculous cars, but yet speeding is an issue.
Well, and see, that's kind of my thing. I mean, I get that they're all for, you know, the environment and let's make a green vehicle, but seriously, dude, a green vehicle at 700 and whatnot horsepower? I mean, I just...
How fast does this car stop?
With ceramic brakes, pretty darn fast.
Depends. Is that a granite cliff or...
No.
Granite?
Granite. It's from a
Granite.
movie where they were making fun of. Never mind.
Never mind. Okay.
Johnny Dangerously.
Or Live Dangerously.
No,
You ready
that's
over there, boss?
movie.
Hold on.
Okay. Because you've got a cue.
I got a cue.
Oh,
Yes,
is
you
this
do.
one of the cues?
Yes, it is.
This is the
Okay.
cue.
Okay.
Folks, disclaimer. Yeah, just watch out for Sasha. You're going to hear her long before you see her after this. Just giving you a heads up right now, because you kind of need this one. Just remember, I warned you.
And and by the way, full disclosure, I am not responsible. I just play this.
Yeah,
stuff
but you
tells me
are
to.
the enabler.
That's
You have
right,
the problem.
he is.
No,
You
no,
have the-
no, no,
He
no,
is.
no.
You have
no,
the power to
no.
stop this, Jack.
That's right. He's the adult in the room.
Okay, then I'm going to stop it and play something else.
No, don't do that. No.
See?
I am not responsible, and sir, if you see me duck under this counter, you're on your own.
You ready?
I'm ready.
And you got that cued, right?
I have a cue.
Okay, let's do this. 9 minutes?
9 minutes exactly,
Okay.
sir.
Okay,
Here we
sir.
go.
This flat tire needs a man, but when there's no man around, when there's no man around, Goodyear should be. Why? Watch this. New Goodyear Double Eagle carries its own spare inside. Lifeguard safety spare. A tire in a tire. Keeps on going. Next time, give her a second chance.
This is segment 2 of this hour of Roadworthy Drive. I'm Ken Chester.
And you're living dangerously.
Yes, I am. Thank you for stopping by. I don't know if I should start with the topic for this segment or let Sasha respond to that vintage commercial we just played.
Okay, first of all, I have begged you to play that because that, you have to set the scene. It is a woman on a dark road
In the middle of the night.
in the middle of the night, little bit of fog, looks like we're stepping into a 1970s horror movie, and this tire needs a man.
I thought it was finally timely with what's going on in the country to show you how far we've come, maybe?
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm going to warn you, during the next show, I'm not done with you.
Oh.
This is the one you wanted.
Yes.
I got another one for you. So
Is it a sales one where they actually like make a the vanity mirror?
I'm not going to tell you.
No.
So
No.
No,
So-
but what I can tell you about it,
Yes.
it involves food.
it does. That's actually
Is it a Hardee's commercial?
No.
Okay.
Topic, sir.
Topic: car insurance. Now we got that out the way, and the men in the room, for the record, are still standing. We're sitting. We're okay. Just in case you're worried, we're fine. Nothing can be more plain, more necessary, and more legal to have. Yet, even the state insurance industry can't avoid the obvious. Much like fire detectors and alarm systems will result in a discount on your homeowner's insurance, the plethora of safety features in today's and certainly tomorrow's cars are causing some basic changes in how automotive insurance is both offered and sold. Here is a peek. Finally, somebody is offering a discount on a Tesla with autopilot.
Really?
Really.
I'm assuming it's over across the pond.
The largest British insurer, Direct Line, is offering a 5% discount to people who own a Tesla who engage the autopilot. Believe it or not.
Okay.
You're going to get a 5% discount for that.
And at what
For
point
switching it on.
And at what point in time are they going to look at putting a device in your car to see when you actually engage it?
Well, they've got something like that.
Well,
for,
Progressive in the United States has something like that.
It's like Snap or something like that. It just plugs right in.
Yeah. And then you've got Verizon over here that allows you to plug in a thing to diagnose your car. Yeah. It's not that far, sir. And if you tie in with what automakers are doing today, they have these little things on the dash called a speed limiter. It actually shows you, the car actually reads the speed limit signs as you go past them and portrays it in the car. Now, it also shows you what your speed you're driving at. So it would not be that tough to track somebody in a car like that, what you're driving at, what speeds, in what speed zones, and make some sort of insurance judgment based on your driving habits.
Okay, now I do have a question, though. Here in Iowa, where we don't really have laws one way or the other when it talks about the that feature for the Tesla owners.
Nobody has that law right now for Tesla owners, but here's the problem. In the United States, in every single state, regardless of whether or not they allow autonomous vehicles on the road, the laws are still written where a driver or a person in that seat is still responsible to take over if the system fails.
Right.
We do not currently have in the United States or in Britain for that matter.
That's true.
First of all, people, and I've said it before, I'm going to say it again.
Here it goes.
Autopilot is not full autonomy.
He hasn't stood up yet, so I'm good.
Yeah, okay.
I'm getting there. Don't hold your breath. I'm getting there.
Okay.
It's not full autonomous. It still requires, and it says here in the piece, at present the driver is firmly in charge, but it's a great opportunity to learn and prepare for the future. Now, do you think it's a big deal? We are in a global economy where what happens in one country can have implications for other countries. It didn't used to be that way, but that's where we are now.
Are we to the point right now where the government cannot make rules fast enough to keep up with the technology?
They've been behind.
Yeah,
They're behind now.
Yeah.
Okay. Because what we really need is not so much rules at this time. We need a conversation. We need hearings because there's a lot of if and then. Let me give you an example. These particular policies for Tesla drivers are based on insurance policies to customers, get this, introduced by Tesla.
And we actually covered that, like, in one of your previous shows.
Yeah. Privacy concerns people?
Yep.
Tesla then provides information on the features and capability of its vehicles to help Direct Line set insurance policies. Honest and truly. Concerns about privacy? Just a little?
Yep.
Well, and that was going to be my one point I wanted to bring up with the insurance companies being able to plug in to your, what I'm going to call the computer port.
Yep.
And at what point is that invading my privacy?
Only when they start to rate or otherwise manipulate your policy based on that information. Right now, they can't do it.
There's a law that says they can't do it.
They're not legally allowed to do it. It's an invasion of privacy.
Okay.
Okay? But that's today.
Yeah.
Which is why we need, as drivers and as consumers, we need to be engaged in this stuff.
Yeah, especially like right now where information is the new, currency of the world. If you have a device plugged in, let's not to say that it wouldn't be like Alexa for your car.
Alexa.
And
may we add, automakers are coordinating to be able to talk to Alexa from your car to manipulate stuff in your home. Ford Motor Company's working on that right now.
And at what point again does this become an invasion of privacy?
the entire time. It's already there.
We're there.
Because then do you own the rights to that, whatever data it recovers?
Well, theoretically, they're recovering, generic information and amassing it. But who's to know? And what protections do we have? Here's something that I need to point out. Now, according to DirectLine, crash rates across all Tesla models have fallen by 40% since the introduction of autopilot. Now, how many cars do you think that affects? How many Teslas do you think that affects in Great Britain?
I have no idea.
Wait for it. 4,500. That ain't nothing.
No, that's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
The reason why I bring this up, though, is that they expect, and this is Harvard Business Record, 23 million fully autonomous vehicles traveling U.S. highways by 2035. I think they're way low, and I think they're 10 years late.
You think it's going to be 2025?
Yeah, 2025, 2030. Yep. But that's me. For our next segment, for One of a Taco Truck, autonomous system is foiled. And in our last segment, speeding, a national safety issue, says them. Roadworthy Drive is heard exclusively on the Roadworthy Drive Radio Network.
You're tuned in to Roadworthy Drive with Ken Chester.
What could possibly go wrong?
We need that made on a T-shirt.
The point I've got is big data is big business.
Yes, it is.
And with all the data breaches we've seen across the world and how our data is being sliced, diced, consolidated, manipulated in a multitude of ways, I would argue that typically laws across the world are weak relative to protecting the consumer. Unfortunately, in the United States, those agencies that would protect the consumer are being watered down by the current regime.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say about that.
As whatever media device, okay? Because Google's got their own, Amazon's got their own. I think there's a third party now that they've got theirs. As it learns about you, it has to record your mannerisms. It's recording the music that you listen to. It's recording where you're going. It's tethered into all your devices, so what websites you go to. And that's how it learns. That's how it adapts to you as its owner. How much of that data is yours?
Well,
Or more like,
or at what point are they going to invade my personal privacy at home with Alexa if I'm doing something that very people do, and I'm going to leave it at that?
Right.
Is Alexa going to record this?
theoretically, not supposed to happen. However, they have found that it records the first 30 seconds. It's not supposed to be kept.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing. Right now, it would record the frequency. And if it doesn't happen so much, you might start seeing certain commercial ads on your newsfeed pop up for certain pills.
Actually, to be blunt, if you are wandering around eBay, and you go to Outlook, you go to Yahoo, you're already seeing, it's already tracking you and showing you ads based on what your searches were in eBay. And it's multi-platform. I've seen them in Outlook. I've seen them in Yahoo. I've seen them, where else? A multitude of different places that have
I'm assuming that Gmail is about ready to do the same thing.
This is happening. This is happening in real time right now.
And see, that's my thing is that when they start with the cars, okay, and they are taking, if you're like me, I am literally a commercial-free, almost a commercial-free existence. I don't listen to, I listen to music that's already loaded on my phone when I'm in my car. I don't have cable TV. I have Netflix, so I don't have any commercialization that's coming across on my computer screen or my TV. I don't have a point of view where they were going to be able to insert advertisements. Okay?
But they will find a way.
But they will find a way.
Actually, because you have Netflix, they're already amassing
based on what I watch.
What you watch, what other sites you may go to as a result of, or what you are tracking as you're watching it. So, all right, people, you got a little extra there. Cybersecurity, always an issue here on Roadworthy Drive, much more than in cars. You're more than welcome to share your concerns. Drop us an email at ken@roadworthydrive, or even visit our website at RoadWorthyDrive.com. Let us know what you're thinking. We'd be glad to share some of that, if you'd allow us to, on air. We are in segment number 3.
I'm ready.
And 9 minutes.
9.
And, yeah, Jack's favorite segment. You'll find
Absolutely
out.
favorite.
Yep, let's do it.
All right, here we go.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to the third segment of this hour of RoadWorthy Drive. I'm Ken Chester. For those of you that want more than your fair share of the road, visit the show website. That's www.roadworthydrive.com. Find audio clips of previous shows, watch video of our behind-the-scenes antics as we produce the show. Hardcore friends of the show can watch us live Sundays via YouTube Live, and much more. The website is also a great place to find out what we've been up to during the week in the world of social media. Sasha, our social media diva, keeps things interesting and entertaining as she spreads RoadWorthy Drive across Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Find out how she keeps the social in our social media. Now, I knew that for this segment, Jack would get really excited because he's our resident hater.
Hold it, stop. I am not a hater.
Yeah,
let's get this straight. I am not a hater.
Okay.
You have to prove it to me because I'm very skeptical.
Yeah.
Be careful where you go there, sir.
Oh my. He has a point, but we'll see. Let me put it to you another way. He's going to like this segment.
Visibly uncomfortable with all things autonomous.
Thank you. Some would call a hater, but he says don't use that word. I will not use that word. I wanted to share this article with you, Jack, because I knew you would enjoy the moment. So I give you what I call for one of a taco truck. Basically, cruise automation, which GM bought for $1 billion a few years ago,
Nice.
is leading the charge in GM's process towards automating their vehicles.
Okay.
Now, they allowed reporters on a ride in San Francisco on real streets so that the reporters could get a first-hand impression of an autonomous car.
Okay.
So let me read this to you. Now, this is one company. AI Motive is a startup from Budapest, Hungary, that is developing software for autonomous vehicles and chips for processing artificial intelligence. They let them ride in a vehicle in Mountain View this week. Now, to give you an idea, we talked about how fast this industry is growing.
Correct.
Yeah, let me give you this example. This company had 10 employees in 2015. How many they got now?
Probably in the hundreds.
150. Wow. Yeah. This thing is growing fast. In their case, they've got a self-driving pilot going on in Paris with automaker PSA, and NVIDIA and Bosch are some of their major investors. Now, getting back to the drive in San Francisco, and I'm going to read this. The engineer emerged on Route 101 and initiated self-driving mode. And that's US 101, by the way.
Okay.
The car stayed with traffic well and kept its lane, although it hugged the right side a little too closely. The engineer had to disengage when we hit heavy traffic because the ride was too jerky. On the way back, the computer stopped working because bumps on the exit ramp disconnected the controls in the front of the computer in the trunk. Now, they said the ride was far from perfect, but it was a look at what it was like testing and proving these technologies on a day-to-day basis in a real-world environment, especially for smaller companies like the AI company out of Budapest, AI Motive, and since they don't have the big money, what they're able to do. Now, let's get back to that taco truck, shall we? A self-driving General Motors company Bolt drove slowly through more than 2 miles through crowded San Francisco streets in its media debut. But double-parked cars and orange traffic cones tripped up the computer driver, and, get this, a taco truck stumped the machine.
Yes!
For you, Jack. For you.
Darn those tacos.
GM self-driving unit, Cruise Automation, gave reporters a ride. This is about a week ago. The first public road trips for non-employees in their cars, which have been tested in San Francisco, Phoenix, and Detroit.
Right.
Now, a lot of these major automakers and the large tech companies have poured billions of dollars into this, the self-driving car.
Right.
And really, and GM said this 2 years ago, they really felt that the robo-taxi service, and that's what they're calling it now, where you would hail a vehicle that would take you to your destination autonomously, without a driver. They see this as the main use for most self-driving vehicles in the initial rollout of them.
Okay.
Now, GM keeps saying over and over, GM would roll out self-driving cars within quarters, not years.
Right. We mentioned that last week.
Bear in mind, where are we at now? We're at the end of 2017.
Correct.
If you're talking quarters, you're talking 2019, 2020.
That would probably be a safe guess because I don't see them doing it by next year.
Oh, no. But what you're going to see is a growing, a groundswell as this technology begins to mature and bear fruit. Bear in mind, Jack, companies have been working on self-driving cars now for 7 years, starting with Google back in 2011.
No, that's true.
I mean, and there's been billions of dollars. This is like the California gold rush, the late 1840s. This is like the auto industry when it started over 100 years ago. Everybody who had any piece of this was jumping in, including people who didn't have any piece of it were jumping in. There's a lot of tech and a lot of programming going on right now.
And I think we discussed sometime last week about the need for students to be doing more of the STEM stuff in their education and how this was going to really start affecting how we educate our children.
Well, all of this technology, this is just the tip of the iceberg of all the technology that's swirling. Some of it independent, some of it codependent, but it's coming like a freight train. Thing on this trip, 15-minute ride in a busy area of San Francisco covered 2.2 miles. The cruise-enhanced electric bolt carrying a Reuters journalist encountered, the car actually counted, 117 people, 4 bikes, and 129 cars. The car never moved more than 20 miles an hour, navigated urban traffic, a tram line, construction zones, pedestrians crossing the street, and many double-parked vehicles. They say that urban environments like this are 46 times more complex than suburbia.
Yeah.
The Bolt reacted more conservatively than a human driver. That makes sense because the first programming and algorithms are going to be uber conservative as they learn.
Right.
What stopped the thing was it was looking, it generates a screen called looking for a clear path when it's trying to configure a way through something. Now, that showed up a couple of times during the trip when the car stopped next to some traffic cones or behind double-parked vehicles. Usually, though, after pauses, it restarted and passed the obstacles by itself. However, a taco truck was too much. The Bolt's human backup driver disengaged the system and took the wheel after the car waited for more than a minute. Behind the truck were the construction workers ordered lunch. Now, the folks in charge said this would improve over time and that the winner of a self-driving car race would be one that launches it at massive scale rather than being just the first to market a model, which means it's either going to be Volvo, Chevrolet, or Tesla. Bottom line.
Yep.
Because remember, we also talked about that first major autonomous order that they placed, that Uber placed with Volvo. So, well, when we come back, speeding, a national safety issue. You think? Yes? No? This is RoadWorthy Drive.
RoadWorthy Drive is a cornerstone of the RoadWorthy Drive radio network.
Watching, for those of you that are watching, yeah, I did notice that echo. It's working fine now, but every once in a while it decides to pop in there.
There's an echo?
Yeah, and then you sound like you're in stereo.
Oh, yeah, but I am.
And it's
Okay.
Ken Chester.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Now, I did have a question, though.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I've got stuff flying all over the place. It's okay. Life is good.
Okay. In that article, you said that the cars were leaning or journeying more towards the right-hand side of the road.
Hugging the right-hand side of the road, I believe, was the exact terminology that
So
was used.
they were not in the center lane then? Or was that like a guardrail there? Was
Well,
that
they could have been in the center lane, but what it was doing was it was hugging the line, the
And
right line.
This is why I was asking, because was it a situation where it was endangering other people? Because I know that if somebody's in the center lane, right, and I'm in the right-hand lane, and now it's time for RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another fun-filled hour of RoadWorthy Drive Behind the Scenes. I'm your host, Ken Chester, in studio with my executive producer, Jack, and our social media diva, Sasha. And she's laughing. In breaking news for this hour, I'm going to introduce you to a company called Genovation GXE. It's a little company with big ideas, a green supercar. You're going to love to know about that, particularly the price tag. A little high, but we'll talk about it. We're going to also talk about a Lamborghini you can afford. You can't park it in your driveway, but you sure can afford it. We'll talk about that in a bit. In our topics of discussion during this hour, we've talked a lot about how the insurance industry is going to be impacted by autonomous cars. There is a British company that's finally stepped on out there in the opening salvo. We'll talk about that and a little bit more about how this is going to change things from their perspective. This one's for Jack, and I call it For Want of a Taco Truck. Automation got stumped, and Jack's going to enjoy it, and you'll find out why, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. And then finally, are you a speeder? Do you speed? Do you go fast down the road?
I don't understand why you're looking at me.
Do you ignore safety laws? The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety considers this a national safety issue, and we'll explain why. All here during this hour of RoadWorthy Drive Behind the Scenes, and we're glad that you took the time out to join us. Thank you. Jack, we're at 11 minutes.
We are at 11 minutes.
Okay,
here we go.
Let's do the thing.
And now it's time for RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another fun-filled hour of RoadWorthy Drive Behind the Scenes. I'm your host, Ken Chester, in studio with my executive producer, Jack, and our social media diva, Sasha. And she's laughing. In breaking news for this hour, I'm going to introduce you to a company called Genovation GXE. It's a little company with big ideas, a green supercar. You're going to love to know about that, particularly the price tag. A little high, but we'll talk about it. We're going to also talk about a Lamborghini you can afford. You can't park it in your driveway, but you sure can afford it. We'll talk about that in a bit. In our topics of discussion during this hour, we've talked a lot about how the insurance industry is going to be impacted by autonomous cars. There is a British company that's finally stepped on out there in the opening salvo. We'll talk about that and a little bit more about how this is going to change things from their perspective. This one's for Jack, and I call it For Want of a Taco Truck. Automation got stumped, and Jack's going to enjoy it, and you'll find out why, so you're going to want to stay tuned for that. And then finally, are you a speeder? Do you speed? Do you go fast down the road?
I don't understand why you're looking at me.
Do you ignore safety laws? The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety considers this a national safety issue, and we'll explain why. All here during this hour of Roadworthy Drive behind the scenes, and we're glad that you took the time out to join us. Thank you. Jack, we're at 11 minutes.
We are at 11 minutes.
Okay,
here we go.
Do the thing.
I tell you wanna go faster, yeah!
It's Roadworthy Drive with Ken Chester. Ken loves talking about cars and automotive trends. And here he is, the automotive host with the most, Ken Chester.
Welcome to America's premier automotive news and information talk show. You're tuned to Roadworthy Drive with Ken Chester. Thank you for listening. If this is your first time, let me explain something to you pretty quick. Roadworthy Drive is not your grandpa's car show. I'd like to describe what I talk about as consumer news of an automotive nature. Roadworthy Drive breaks down all the tech speak and breaking news in a way that is understandable and relevant. Doesn't matter if you love cars or just view them as a way to get from point A to point B. Spending time with me each week will make you a better consumer and a more aware resident. Rest assured, the next 15 years will be transformational in ways you can't even begin to imagine. Your house, your job, your vehicle, and your life are going to change as a result, directly and indirectly, of what we talk about each week. Be sure to tune in so that you can see what's coming and, more importantly, why. In a few minutes later in this segment, I will introduce you to the insane Genovation GXE and share with you another automaker's journey outside of the realm of automotive manufacturing. That's in breaking news. It depends where I am, okay? In my case, obviously in urban areas, yeah, I'm going to be pretty close to speed limit, if not at the speed limit.
Okay.
Because there's too much risk. People could get hurt. Kids can come up between parked cars. Yeah, things happen. But we live in the upper Midwest, and when you get out into the wide open of the wide open, it's wide open.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
it's wide
Yes,
open.
it is.
Oh, well, and here's my other thing. Speeding, I think, has always been an issue. But now we're talking about drivers being more distracted than ever.com always. I mean, how much of that is also weighing in?
Well,
I will help you with that number. The number of people who died in such crashes where speed was a contributing factor
okay.
in the last 10 years represented 1/3 of everybody that died, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Okay, died in the U.S. or died on the roads in the U.S.?
Died on the roads in the U.S. as a result of speeding.
Okay, now I have a question. How many people get influenced by this show? And I'm going to use a show here that's actually being produced on one of the cable channels.
Okay.
It's called Street Outlaws.
I don't watch it.
They do street racing.
It's illegal.
It's illegal.
Are you serious?
I'm dead
It's illegal.
serious. They do it.
I know it's illegal. I know street racing
How much is that show influencing people saying, I can speed just like them?
I'm not going to buy that. But here's the thing. Let me drop this on you. That 1/3 that died doing speed, again, according to NHTSA, it is roughly equal to the number who died in alcohol-involved crashes during the same period. Let that sink in for a minute. Now,
Wow.
the reason why I'm bringing it up, we on this program are deaf to anyone who feels they have to drink and get behind the wheel.
Yep.
Unfortunately, this article just showed us all up to be hypocrites, because if we're about safety, we got to talk about speed too. You know, and Sasha has a point. There's a lot of distracted people. You mix speed with distraction, that's a recipe for a mess. And it's unfortunate. You know, people don't pay attention like they used to. And it's too easy to be distracted. And with the quality of vehicles these days, it's not hard to be running at a high rate of speed and not fully realize it unless you're paying attention.
Yep.
I mean, right now, I'm driving an Audi SUV. that thing will get away from you. Easy. It's that smooth. And it would not be hard to be doing much higher than the speed limit unless I was paying attention. Even though the vehicle has a speed limit indicator on the dashboard, it tells me what the speed is where I'm at.
Yep.
Now, their whole thing here is that we need to treat speed is seriously and educate people about the dangers of speeding just like we do alcohol. Speeding doesn't mix, and particularly distracted driving, and speeding's even worse. So that's something that we kind of need to talk about. We really do, and they break this down. Now, they did say the speed cameras slow people down, and we may talk about speed cameras some other time, when we have more time.
Don't get me started.
I know. Well, folks, that wraps up another hour of our program. On behalf of the RoadWorthy Drive team, thanks for listening, and be sure to tune in next time. You have been listening to RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester.
RoadWorthy Drive with Ken Chester is a copyrighted presentation of the RoadWorthy Drive Radio Network. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or any other use is prohibited without the written consent of the Motor News Media Corporation.
We talk about drunk driving here, and we're very serious that we encourage people not to drink and drive. According to the safety powers that be, we need to be equally worried about speeding. Now, honestly, pretty much I would argue that most people who drive probably speed at some time or another. And maybe we need to take a second look at that and see that being safe is better than being dead. And sometimes it's the things that we assume and take for granted and let our guard down are the things that come back to cause a problem. So I'll leave you that with some food for thought. On behalf of Jack and Sasha and myself, we appreciate you dropping by this hour. We'll be back with hour 2 of our hijinks this week. Thanks for watching RoadWorthy Drive, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.